By definition, an opening closing, whether it's detail or summary or intermediate report, indicates that that report should deal only with opening closing events, as opposed to the all events type report. There have to be ways to identify which one of the signals are going to be taken and put in the open closing report, and also giving the programmability that's required in order to choose which ones. Let's look at the open closing detail report for Tequila Willie's. Here we can see that we have test messages coming through, and they're found on the open closing report, as well as closings, openings. We also have open closing schedule changes that'll be kept in there. These are very helpful things, belong on that report, but there are several things that we probably need to take into consideration when deciding about the open closing report. First of all, we have to decide which mnemonics are actually controlled and brought up in this report. That's done under management level, coming over here to the event priority levels. Under the OCD column, if it's got a yes, that means it's an open closing mnemonic. So it will appear on that report. If you are getting a signal on your reports that you do not want there, check here to make sure that it has a yes or a B under the OCD. If it does, you may want to change that to a no. Rerun your report because it will take care of the changes in retroactive fashion. As we go down through here, we can see the different mnemonics and what they mean. The closing obviously is an open closing signal, but if I put a no there, that signal would no longer show up on the open closing reports. For those of you then that want to take your tests out of your open closing reports, it's very simply done just by removing the TST mnemonic out of there. Now, assuming we have ourselves straight there, the other thing that's very important to note in the open closing reports is if I step into account maintenance just for a second here, and I've got to remember that there is an open closing report flag down here that must be set to yes if you want to batch produce open closing reports. In other words, if I started at account number 1 and went to account number 10, I only can pick up those accounts that have a yes in the open closing report flag for my open closing report. If they do not have a yes, they will not be picked up and they will be skipped. So if you find that you're missing an account in your open closing reports, I would come here first, make a quick check there. If you're doing sorting parameters on the interval value, well, that's a reasonably easy one to find, but make sure that flag is set to yes first. Thank you.